Good morning, ladies, and welcome to a special mindset with me, Emma, your LWDG mindset coach. And this is about your Bark to School mindset. So hello and welcome to Bark to School. Over the next few days, you and your dog are going to be learning together. So you're going to receive tasks and have something to practice and be invited to submit your homework. And because we've called it Bark to School, I want to begin with a little warning. The word school can bring up some surprisingly unhelpful baggage with it. So it can awaken the part of us that sometimes really wants to be a good pupil and perform. The part that wants to understand everything immediately, complete every bit of homework perfectly, and perhaps even earn a metaphorical gold star at the end of it. And it can also awaken the part of us that worries about getting things wrong. It depends what our personal experience of school might have been like. Some found it more difficult than others. So it brings up that idea of getting things wrong. What if everyone's dog is better? What if my dog can't do the task? What if I misunderstand the instructions? What if I post my homework and people notice all the things that I should have done differently? And if you're already feeling that your dog is behind, joining a training event can sometimes make that feel a little bit louder. Perhaps you think your dog or puppy should know more by now. Perhaps your adolescent dog appears to have forgotten everything they've ever learned. And perhaps you've watched other dogs walking beautifully to heel, recalling immediately, or calmly waiting their turn while yours is swinging from the end of the lead and behaving as if they've frankly never met you before. Or perhaps you've been training for a little while, but you still feel like you're patching things together with different bits of advice without being completely sure whether any of them properly fit the dog standing in front of you. So before we begin, I want to tell you something important. You're not behind, and neither is your dog. You're simply beginning this week from wherever you both are today. That's the only place learning can ever begin. There is no imaginary starting line. We often carry this picture of where our dog ought to be. A 6-month-old dog should be able to do this. A 1-year-old dog should have stopped doing that. A working breed dog should naturally understand this. A good handler should already know how to deal with that. But dogs don't develop according to a neat training timetable or timeline. They arrive with different genetics, early experiences, different temperaments, different levels of sensitivity, confidence, motivation, and frustration tolerance. And they also develop within different lives. One dog may live in a really quiet rural home with an experienced handler. Another may live with children, other animals, busy roads, a human juggling work, family, and probably about 4 hours of sleep. These dogs are not sitting the same exam, and the humans are not working under the same conditions. So comparing the finished behaviour without considering everything that sits underneath is kind of like comparing the final page of 2 books without reading any of the chapters that came before. So your dog's current behaviour is not a verdict on you. It's just information. And this is something I say to the group all of the time. It just tells us something about what our dog currently understands, what they're able to manage in that environment, what motivates them, and where they may need more support. That information is super useful, but only when we can look at it without immediately turning it into personal criticism. So homework is information, not a performance. Each day during Bark to School, you're going to be given a short task. Your job is not to produce a perfect demonstration. Your job is to become curious about what happens when you try it with your dog. Perhaps your dog understands immediately. Great. Perhaps they become distracted. Cool, I've learned something about my dog. Perhaps they offer something completely different. Okay, what's that about? Perhaps it works beautifully in the kitchen and then disappears when you step into the garden. Perhaps you realise the task is just too difficult in the environment you've chosen, or that your dog is tired or overexcited or simply not in a learning frame of mind at the moment. None of those outcomes mean you've failed the homework. That is the homework. Training is not about producing the behaviour we wanted. It's about noticing what the dog needs in front of us in order to learn. So a messy attempt can teach you far more than a polished 30-second video. The moment your dog struggles is not necessarily the moment the training's gone wrong. It's often the moment the most useful information becomes available to you. Can I make it clearer? Do I need to make it easier? Does my dog need more distance, more movement, a better reward, a different reward, fewer distractions? Am I repeating the cue because I'm anxious? Have I quietly raised the criteria without realising it? Is my dog confused? Or do they understand, but they currently find something else more rewarding? So that shift from judgment to curiosity is one of the most valuable mindset skills you can develop as a handler. Instead of thinking, why can't my dog do this? Try asking, what is making this difficult for my dog right now? The first question tends to create frustration. The second gives us somewhere to go. You don't have to complete everything perfectly. There may be a day this week where life gets in the way. You might be working late, your dog might be tired, the weather might be awful. You may watch the task and think, I'm going to do that later, and you should realise bedtime, that later never happened. Don't allow one missed task to become the reason you disappear from the rest of the week. This is something we humans do remarkably well. We miss one day, we decide we've fallen behind, then we feel embarrassed about being behind, so we avoid returning. And before long, a single missed task has become evidence that we never stick at anything. It's not evidence of that. It just means you've missed one task. You can come back the following day. You can adapt the activity. You can watch and learn even if you don't practice immediately. You can take one useful idea from the entire week and just work on that. Participation doesn't only count when it's complete and perfect. Small pieces of learning still count. So just be careful what you compare. You're going to see other people's homework. Some dogs may appear calmer, faster, further ahead. Some handlers will look confident and experienced. Remember, you are seeing a moment, not the entire training history. Every single one of us, even the experts, has got frustrated with the dogs. You may be watching someone's 10th attempt whilst comparing it with your first. You may be looking at the behaviour their dog finds easiest whilst working on something your own dog finds genuinely really difficult. And whilst you're focused on what that dog can do, someone else may be looking at the relationship, the enthusiasm or connection you have with yours and wishing they had that. Comparison encourages us to abandon our own dog and start mentally training someone else's. But the dog you're responsible for is the one standing beside you. Your most useful comparison is not between your dog and another dog. It's between what your dog could manage before and what they're beginning to manage now. Progress might look like a perfect retrieve or a beautiful recall. It might also look like your dog checking in 1 second sooner than it normally does, recovering more quickly after a distraction, or being able to think in an environment that previously overwhelmed them. Or you noticing frustration building and changing the exercise before either of you falls apart. Some of the most important progress doesn't look great or impressive on video, but it still matters. Those are the foundations. You're learning too. Your dog is not the only learner in this partnership. No matter how experienced you are learning how to read them. You're learning when to help, when to wait, when to lower the difficulty, and when your dog is ready for more. No matter how experienced you are, every dog is different, and you will be learning that with them. You are learning what happens inside you when things don't go according to plan. Perhaps you speed up, perhaps you repeat yourself, perhaps you become more controlling or begin trying to rescue the session. Perhaps your shoulders tighten, your voice changes, you start worrying about everyone watching what everyone watching might think. That doesn't make you a bad handler, it makes you human. We've all been there. The aim is to not remove every emotional response before you're allowed to train your dog. That's impossible. The aim is to become more aware of what you bring into the interaction. When you notice yourself becoming frustrated or self-conscious, pause. Take a breath. Ask yourself, what am I trying to achieve here? What does my dog need from me right now? Not what do I want my dog to do? And how can I make this feel simpler for both of us? Sometimes the best piece of training will be deciding to stop, reset, and try again later. That isn't giving up. That's handling the learner in front of you, including the human one. Remember to choose curiosity over proof. You don't need to use this week to prove that you are a good handler. You don't need to prove that your dog is clever, well-trained, or worthy of belonging here. You already belong here. Try to use these 4 days as an opportunity to experiment. Notice what your dog enjoys. Notice what catches their attention. Notice when they become confused or what helps them understand. Notice the expectations you carry and whether those expectations help either of you learn. Let yourself get something wrong. Let your dog get something wrong. Let the first attempt be the first attempt rather than expecting it to resemble the final result. Because successful training is not created by never making mistakes. Far from it. It's created by being willing to notice, adjust, and try again. So this is about your bark to school mindset. As we begin, I would like you to carry 3 things with you. First, start with the dog you have today. Not the dog you expected to have, not the dog you had last week, or your previous dog, or the imaginary dog you think everyone else owns. Secondly, treat every response as information. If something works, that tells you something. If it doesn't work, that also tells you something. Third, stay on your own path. Be inspired by people's progress. That's great, but do not use it as a weapon against yourself. You are not here to be the best pupil. You are here to learn more about your dog, to understand one another a little better, and hopefully have some fun together. Submit the imperfect homework. Ask the question you think you ought to know the answer to. You might be surprised with the outcome. Celebrate the tiny improvement that nobody else may even notice. And if something goes completely off script, take a breath and remember, it's not proof that you're failing. It's just the next bit of information. You are not behind. Your dog is not behind. You are both exactly where your learning begins. So I really hope you enjoy this week. I really hope you enjoy all the tasks. And I really hope you enjoy your relationship with your dog.